welcome to this week's special edition of the Halloween Bro Show. What's up, everybody? How's it going out there?
Great.
Going very well. I forgot my costume. Kate got the memo. Spartan got the memo. How are you guys? We should start with introductions, of course.
Skilbo got the memo. He's dressed up too.
Skilbo's got the crown on. Yeah. If you guys saw our last episode, that's a reference to that for sure. Hilarious reference to that. All right, we'll go through introductions really quick. Canna Kate, you're the first one.
Hello. You can find me on Instagram at thecanicate. I don't know what else we're supposed to say. My cat's chilling in front of my computer right now.
That's perfect. Eagle, where can we find you, my friend?
You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, Massroots, Doobie, anywhere you want to look for me.
Right on. Spartan Grown.
Find me on Instagram, Spartan Grown, or Mitten Canico.
Abolished is wearing his costume. Abolished, where can we find you, my friend?
You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and wherever you see fine productions from our crew here. Big Rick.
Skilbo?
Skilbo1, you can find me on Instagram, and I'm really glad to be here tonight, man. Let's have a great fucking talk tonight.
Pat's really enjoying the costume day. I really should have went back to the store and got one. I was going to get one of those Fortnite costumes, like the onesies. That would have been perfect for this. It's unfortunate. So just imagine how cool this could have been if I would have put in the effort. Imagine.
You're still a cool kid.
At least you recognize you can improve. We're moving in the right direction, man.
Right? It's I got to work on the execution. That's what all the football coaches would say the Monday after. Execution's got to improve. The game plan was there. We had the right idea. That's it. So speaking about execution, I'm getting ready to put plants into flower. So I figure that'll be a good thing to talk about as our first topic tonight. What are some things that you guys like to try before you start putting your plants into flower? I have to finish lollipopping them. I'm going to do that. They're already in the scrog net. I'm taking clones. How heavy should I defoliate? Stuff like that. Do you like to defoliate to reduce stretch, etc.?
So my opinion is I always do. Well, I do my lollipopping at home. I'll do my lollipopping day one of flower. Like I'm moving it into flower, I'm lollipopping it at the same time. And then I might wait about 2 weeks into flower, and then I want to remove some fan leaves usually by that time, 2 to 3 weeks. And yeah, probably 2 weeks, probably day 14, day 15, somewhere like that. Remove some big fan leaves that are going to be issues where there's buds, and then set my final lollipop at about that point. Like if I felt like there's a few on the bottom maybe they stretched out and they weren't where they're supposed to be. Eagles kill me.
He cracked me up too.
But then after that, I don't really do much.
Top Magoo from the chat says 3 minutes in and we got them tied down and we're stripping them down. So welcome to the show. What else does other people do when you guys go into flower?
Pretty much.
Sorry, go ahead.
Say right at the beginning, I go in there and I'll strip everything. I'll literally take and wrap my fingers around the stalk and run it down and just rip everything off instead of trying to be like super delicate and go in there with scissors and take forever. Other than that, I don't really have like 48 hours. I like to do darkness before I flip it. Other than that, there's not too much to it.
You think that helps speed up how fast they flip?
No doubt. Like you normally finish a lot quicker when you do 48 hours, pretty much with every strain I've ran consistently.
Has anybody else tried that? I've never tried that before.
I wouldn't be able to do that because I'm on such different schedules in my flower room. I only have the one flower room, but they're on different schedules, so I can't really do that.
No, but on the flip side of that, I veg on 24, and I've noticed that if I don't dial it back and give it a week of 18/6, that they go almost. It shortens up the flower time by a week easy. I'm almost looking for that extra week of stretch. That's why I dialed back to the 18/6 so I can get just a little bit more stretch out of it before it starts flowering.
That's really interesting. I'm gonna have to try that. I'll be able to try it on just this one because, like Spartan said, I'm in perpetual, so they'll be harvesting nonstop after that. But we'll see if it takes some time off. That'll be cool.
I think a lot of it, the reason why it makes it finish a little bit quicker is because for the plant to actually go into like full flower, it's a buildup of hormones, and those hormones normally only I believe they accumulate during the night cycle. So you have to have so many hours in or whatever before your plant even thinks. So I'm thinking with the 48 hours of darkness, that's just tons of those hormones built up. That's why I kind of see flower signs within the first week instead of waiting until later after the first week to see it, maybe into week 2 on some strains, if you just went right to 12/12.
So if I give my plants estrogen, do you think will they flower quicker?
That's above my pay grade.
I would say no because I don't think estrogen's going to help a plant. That's an animal thing.
It's the only hormone I can think of.
Ethylene, I think it's ethylene for the plants.
Skilbo gives you the thumbs up on ethylene.
After I'm choking from coughing, laughing at that shit.
Yeah, my eyes watering from all this smoke over here. What are you guys smoking on right now? I'm smoking Crescendo that I grew outside, and it's interesting the differences between indoor and outdoor.
I am smoking Moby Dick from Kyle Gardner, the guest that's going to be the show that breaks this shit open. Wait till you guys see this show tomorrow, man. It's really fucking good.
That was great.
I'm actually getting down on some pineapple chunk from a friend's outdoor, believe it or not, even though I talk shit on outdoor. It's pretty tasty. I had to trim it up a little bit because it looked a little rough, but it tastes good now. It's like straight pineapples.
Yeah, I've got some of my outdoor blue cough from this year, and just like always, my outdoor is ugly, but it's always freaking way different than the indoor. Like the high is always way different. The flavor's way different. I don't know. I think the flavor is probably not as good as the indoor, but the high is just amazing. Like it's very sativa. Like it takes a while to hit you, but when it does, it's like straight to the head. It's not psychedelic, but it's all in the head. I don't know how else to explain it. But
Almost like the outdoors got like a more full spectrum buzz to it or something. I don't know, but I have the same experience. It's definitely different.
yeah, it's like more of a soaring high, I guess is how I would explain this stuff. But I'm gonna have a little bit, hopefully, to bring everybody who comes out. What is it? A week or 2 from now? Whatever it is, I'll have some saved up.
Weeks.
Smoking a little bit of Dr. Cookies, which is a tester from North Star, which is forum cut cookies times Pennywise. Pretty tasty. Hope it makes a menu.
We talked about cookies a little bit in our chat. Forum cut, Girl Scout cookies, all of that stuff.
To add, and then what people are trying to add to them. You know what I mean? Like, what are you trying to do with the cookies?
That's true, yeah. So like the Girl Scout cookies itself, the original cookies had pretty small buds and really distinct flavor characteristics, like, small golf ball style nugs. And you've seen a lot of cookies crosses come out these days where they're breeding them for more and more yield. and I think that that's really good. They said the stream went offline for a few seconds, and I don't know how that happened, but I'm glad it's back online. So thanks for sticking with us, guys. I'm not sure what they missed, but we were talking about cookies strains and how prevalent they are in genetics these days, and how breeders have taken the unique characteristics out of it and bred them for more and more yield. Like I have the Crescendo, which is a higher yielding cookie strain. Tropicana cookies won a bunch of cups last year, and that's Tangy and Girl Scout cookies crossed together. It's kind of interesting seeing these trends. And with the tangy and with the citrus flavors coming back, I wonder what the next popular thing is going to be.
Yeah, no, shout out to 2020 Mendocino. They're usually in the chat. I'm not sure if they're out there yet or not, but
Yeah, Carlos is in the chat.
Yeah, Carlos has said on the Breeders Panel show he does on YouTube that they found that with the cookies you cross them to it, it seems to always make them frostier. It's always a positive with the cookies, so it's a really popular one to use because of that. I mean, so I'm sure there's going to be plenty of cookies crosses out there for a long, long time if that continues to be true.
Me myself, I think we're going to keep shooting towards fruits. I think the extractors are leading the way in kind of a push as well to the breeders on what they want and what they're looking for. So I think that input is going to come out, and where the breeders are going to start pushing their directions and higher turf strains that will meet what the extractors are looking for.
Now, is there an actual cookie cross out there that keeps with the flavor of the original forum cut that's got some yield? Because I mean, a lot of the cookie crosses I've tried, they're good. Don't get me wrong, but they still don't touch the forum cut for flavor and effect. And
What do you like about the forum cut that you're trying to replicate?
It's that taste. I love it. It tastes good. It's like Gorilla Glue, or it's like GG4. It's just one of those tastes and smells that always stick out to you, and like you'll buy it. Like that's a guaranteed strain. If you're going into the dispensary and it's a bunch of weird shit in there, you see Gorilla Glue or you see Forum Cut, you know that you're gonna get your money's worth normally.
Give it a sniff, just like Toucan Sam. Follow your nose; it always knows.
In the chat, we've got more than one person saying that they need the skunk to be back, which is definitely something Muskobo has been talking about since we started the show. And I think if you're looking for skunk, the best skunk breeder these days is Dominion. They're doing lots of skunk crosses from Virginia.
If my skunk one ends up being legit, I'm open source of my cuts. I'll hand that clone out to as many people that want to do it. I want to get that shit out there because I've been trying to get it going myself for a very long time.
Well, and that one that you're running is pretty too.
Sorry, Skibble.
Go ahead. I was just saying that basically the one that Abolish is running looks really, really pretty. And it's kind of, if I look at the skunk one hashtag on Instagram, you start looking at a lot of pictures, you start to see the same kind of structure and stuff. So I think maybe we're on the right fucking track with this. Go ahead, Eagle.
Oh, I was just wondering the seed source. Most European seed source, when they call everything skunk. So I know I've tried my hand at a few Nirvana seed bank skunks and didn't have much luck with anything skunk through Nirvana.
I don't believe that he got it from seed, but he got it from clone, right?
No, it was from seed. I got a pack of seeds. I just have to find my pack. I don't want to mispronounce it and give it to the wrong person.
There's some reputable breeders of old genetics, like AK Beans. He breeds like Northern Lights and the old Haze, Northern Lights times Haze. Does open pollination projects and stuff like that in Alaska. The old school breeding stuff. So if you're looking for old school genetics, look for AK Bean. I think it's AK Bean Brains on Instagram. It's not a Michigan breeder, but he's doing a lot of the old stuff that we're talking about right now.
It is from Canuck Seeds, the original skunk #1 regs. I got a 10-pack.
I wish you the best on that because, like you, I'd love a cut of some skunk.
Bring back the funk.
Well, yeah, and Skunk 1 was a great breeding strain. Skunk is in tons and tons of quality genetics.
In the chat, Drew Zinski says that we need cheese strains, and I agree with that. There's not like a bunch of cheese strains that I really love, but like I like the idea of them always. You know what I mean? Like when you smoke them, you're like, ah, it's so close, but not like, you know, I don't love any of them.
Is that like the abolished OG?
That's his cue.
Yeah, that was originally given to me as a cheese cut, and I stopped calling it cheese because all the other cheese that I was smoking wasn't comparing to that, so I didn't feel like it was a cheese. That maybe there I got the good cheese, and the other ones weren't.
Have you ever smoked Exodus cheese?
I was just gonna say I had Exodus
Yes.
by Wee Woo once, and that was super good. But
That's
like
probably the best one I've tried.
I still got seeds of the Exodus and original cheese.
It's so funny because I'm recording a video podcast show and I'm actually picking seeds out of my outdoor bud. I intentionally seeded this stuff. It's Crescendo, reverse back cross with Deep Chunk F12 and what was the other one? White Royal Cherry or something like that. And that's the seeds that I'm pulling right now. So I'm pretty excited to actually grow them.
I'm interested in running that too if you end up getting enough extras, because that's from my boys over there at Mantis.
Eagle, you know you got something to say on it.
I'm a little quiet this week. I don't know why. I shouldn't smoke before the show, I guess.
You got to smoke more. That's usually the solution to the problem. Get some hash in there, something that's nice and uppy.
I want to shout out to the chat right now. I seen Shane made it over from Cheap Home Grow and Can Grow. You know, just shout out to those guys. Thanks for hanging out.
That's awesome.
And Can was talking about Skilbo's headwear.
I like that you put the crown on over the hat, Skilbo. And Eagle, it's funny that you said that you smoke too much because I don't talk until I get high enough.
And that's the
That
thing
could
about a
be it.
sesh is there's all kinds of different people that's why the conversation works, because it goes in different directions and shit, man. Everybody's got their time to shine. We just got to keep fucking smoking. On cue, Spartan is coughing over there.
It is what it is, man. I've been smoking for over 2 hours now straight, but I'm going to keep on going.
I don't know how you got eyes to
Hard
see
work,
us
but
still.
somebody's got to do it, man.
Hey, it keeps a smile on my face, so I must be doing something good.
What about that drop that you were telling us about earlier, Spartan?
Oh, our products over at, where was it? Arbor Wellness? I think it was Arbor Wellness. They posted a screenshot of a Han Solo Burger bud that we grew at Mitten Canico. So that was kind of a cool thing to see another, on another social media platform post up one of the buds that we grew. So that was kind of a cool moment to see that. So I wanted to shout out to Arbor Wellness. I hope I'm getting it right.
I'll be down there to see you guys tomorrow, Arbor Wellness.
Hey, the ones that put up the really high quality picture of the bud, it looked really good.
Yeah, and that's not a picture that we took or anything. So that's something they did on their own. So they selected whatever bud they wanted and they put it up, and they took a hell of a shot. So it was pretty good. It must have been one of those dark box things.
You can build your own like little photo box things out of like hot glue and that like thick poster board. Super easy because like a lot of it's just like having a nice background and like the light around it. You know what I mean? So those little things are super easy to build if you don't want to spend the $40 or however much they are.
I'd have to
Maybe,
start by buying a hot glue gun.
There's too many goddamn Instagram videos and Facebook videos that start that way. First, you need a glue gun.
I got to get a Pinterest account if I get a hot glue gun. That's about required.
So I want to jump back a little bit, sequence, and when you were talking about you were smoking some of your crescendo from outdoor. Have you noticed? I just want to geek out on this kind of stuff. Have you noticed any difference between your outdoor versus your indoor?
It seems like the terps are like louder in the outdoor. Like we were talking, it's like a more full spectrum type of high, and then it's more larfy, not more larfy, less dense. I think larf is like way overboard connotation. It's just less dense. It's not necessarily like bottoms of badly grown indoor or nothing like that, but it's got more leaf material to it. I'm not disappointed by it by any means. I would smoke lots and lots of this. So I intend on growing more of it, next year. Outdoor in general, but the crescendo turned out well. You never know when you harvest, it didn't have bud rot and mold and stuff on the insides of the buds. It cured out really well, and that's kind of the stuff you worry about with your outdoors. So that's good to see. So it kind of passed the Michigan test. We got rained on a shitload this year, and it didn't mold. So on to the next one. I took a bunch of clones of it today. So anyone that wants one, I think you were the one that was on the list, Spartan. You wanted a crescendo, so you'll have some of that.
Was it the 6 or the 2?
The crescendo, I just took the one clone of, or the one strain. So I had the you're thinking of the citral glue.
Ah, you're right. Damn it.
And did you get more coloring outdoor too? Because we usually notice that too. Almost everything gets way more coloring outside.
Yeah, but that I would attribute. It didn't really change color until the end of the year when it started getting really cold. So I think that's temperature versus like what I would say would be light spectrum, or maybe what you were thinking. During like the middle of the summer and stuff like that, it looked pretty normal, just green and stuff like that. But you don't see it until it fades even indoor, really. So it's kind of hard to attribute what it came down to. Like even if you're running like CMH, which I think gives you the coolest colors indoors, you don't see that fade until the end.
Right. Yeah, you don't really see it till about that last week, maybe 2 weeks tops.
Yeah.
And
So I don't know if it's the light or the sun, or the cold. But it was different color for sure. Really cool.
I think some of my prettiest flower has come from under the LEDs, to be honest with you.
The frostiest bud I've ever grown has always been under the LEDs for sure. But I don't know if that translates to every facet, like weight and frost and terps and, oil and all of that stuff.
Oh, I would definitely say the terps and oil production are a whole lot better under the LED, for sure. Absolutely.
Yep. I agree with that completely.
Anymore, some of these new ones, yields have caught up too. It's hard to knock LEDs anymore.
I agree. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I just had my first fail of an LED in my Spectrum King, and what was weird was I didn't know it failed. It was just part of the diodes weren't lighting up, or some of the diodes weren't lighting up. But I noticed my plants under that first, I don't know how long it had been that way, but that first yield underneath that was just garbage. Like we're talking an ounce per plant. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And finally figured out that over half my diodes were burnt out in that thing. So I put some fucking different lights in there and I got rid of that one. And I have a HLG coming to replace it. I forget the model number right now.
You got the Elite something, right?
Yeah, the 360 or
360.
something
Yeah,
like that.
that's a good
Yeah.
light, man.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, it's going to use a little bit less power than what I'm replacing. It was using 400 watts. This is going to be around 360 or something. And it's going to be way more efficient. So it's going to get way more light anyway.
What's
So
the footprint on that? Is that a 4x4?
3x3 is what the light will. I'm going to cover a 4x4 with it, but I have supplemental lights. I can use a HLG 65 I have, which is what I usually use for supplemental. I'm going to see what it looks like, but I'll probably use my HLG 65 to like maybe light up a dark corner or something if it doesn't work out just right. But it's going to get side lighting from a light right next to it, so I might not even need the supplemental to light up that 4x4.
Yeah, that overlap of light can really help. I do that in flower with those cheap blur pulls and the HPS. It works out really well.
Yeah.
Anybody running a strain that they just popped that they're super excited about?
Oh, but I'd like to talk about the 9-pound hammer some more because you just talked and you gave me that strain. That shit is phenomenal. Like we said, I'm getting ready to flip into flower. I was thinking about it today. I've been waiting for that plant to grow up a little bit more, and I was like, maybe it's not going to grow up very fast because it's pretty indica strain. Maybe it's reached about where it's going to want to go to before it flowers, but it's bushing out pretty good. So I'm going to flip it anyway, and we're going to see what happens. It's really, really healthy.
She'll double.
Yeah, I'm really excited
Easy.
about it for sure.
Yeah, she'll double her size easy. Yeah, I'm personally excited about the ethos, that insane membrane I picked up. That thing I think is gonna live up to what it said on the label about being a super loud strain. It smells amazing in veg right now, and it's already loud right now. So I can't wait to see what she puts out when she flowers. I think
I've never been
be-
disappointed in any of their stuff yet.
this is my first run with ethos, and so far I'm not let down.
And you probably bought the most hype one. So like Colin admitted that the Insane in the Membrane was like a social media marketing experiment. So like he released the strain and it didn't even say what the cross was, and like it says Nunya crossed with business, and then like all the contents and stuff are like insane, crazy, super high, and like it was a experiment to see, what the market would do, I guess, or whatever. And he admitted to that, and that's kind of interesting. But seeing that it is still truly good genetics is really cool too. What they're doing there is kind of fascinating, I guess.
When are you flipping that big Detroit energy sequence?
Tomorrow, it's in the group of 6 plants that's getting flipped, and I took clones of that as well.
Was that the exclusive cross that he handed out or whatever for free that was crossed with the Detroit City Diesel?
Yeah, that was the Lilac 22 crossed with like a Mandarin Sunset, I think, right, Sequence?
I'm not actually sure of the cross. I don't have it written down. I have it in my phone, but it'd take me some minutes to figure that out.
Yeah, I think it's Lilac Diesel 22 crossed with that. So I've seen pictures of it in his garden, and it looks really, really strong and like it's ready to just bust out. So
it's been really vigorous, and the fan leaves are bigger than probably the 9-pound rivals it. With the indica fan leaves, big fan leaves. But the big Detroit Energy's got some giant fan leaves on that.
how many of those did you pop?
Just one. I popped one seed, it germinated, and it's growing. It's fem, so I already sexed it. It's female, you can see. So we'll see what it does. I have a bunch more of those seeds, like maybe 30 more.
I think that was 63 days on that or thereabout.
It's supposed to be a fast flowering sativa, so we'll see. I start checking trichomes at like 55 days or so and see where they're at.
Kate, your hair looks perfect.
It's so loose and uncomfortable. Like every time I move it like shifts around. I didn't think about this for 2 hours. trying to sit still.
What I said is you're gonna knock it off and it's gonna make a hilarious camera moment at some point. And then she said, "It's got clips." That was her reply to me.
It does have clips. Shout out to my children because I rated their little barrette thing, but it's keeping most of it up. But then there's like a 2 liter in there, like empty, obviously, but
And you can hide your weed in there.
Stash hair.
so much weed in here. I don't really go to festivals, but if I ever do, I'm gonna put a shitload of weed in my hair.
Yeah, it'd be super light, so that'd be awesome. Perfect.
If the stream stopped for you guys and YouTube, refresh the page and it should come right back. It stopped for me too, so I did that and it came right back for me.
Yeah, I'm getting a weird freeze every so often.
I apologize for any technical difficulties. I'm not pushing any buttons, but it could be my fault. I'm consuming cannabis.
So I never did, if you don't mind, talk about my pre-flower business there.
Yeah, let's do it. I want to learn from everybody if I could. You've been growing as long as I've been alive, I'm sure, so hit me with it.
Right now, during the winter months, I like to veg 24/7, mainly for to keep heat in the room. You know, it's mainly a heat issue why I do it. And then right before flower, I like to dial it back for a week. That's when I take my clones and you know, trim her up nice and pretty before flower there. Give her a solid week under 18.6 to heal up and get ready for flower. And then I throw her in the flower. And then from then on out, I'll let her stretch up. Depending on how she takes off, if the plant shoots up or I feel like it's gonna shoot up, I won't take anything. I won't clean up the lowers right away. I'll let that kind of be my brakes. Let some of that energy slow her down, and vice versa. If she don't look like she's gonna sprout up on me, I trim her up and then let some of that energy go up after flower. And then after like week 3, after she's done stretching, I defoliate a little bit and let that energy go towards the buds. And then last week I would strip her down one last time, let her go like that. That's my routine from start to finish usually.
I like how you use the vegetation to try to control the stretch and stuff like that, which makes a lot of sense. Or the stress of it to control the stretch. But
Well,
like you
to
said
control
earlier,
that temperature too. I mean, the temperature is where it's at by doing that 24/7.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
gonna
for
cost you
sure.
a little bit more money, but I mean, come on.
that's my solution in the wintertime too, for veg, is just run the lights. And then in flower, I run all my lights at nighttime, which is good in the summer as well, but especially in the wintertime. What is your guys' nighttime flower cycle? I do 7 to 7. Is that the coldest hours of the day? It seems cold enough, but I mean, I don't know.
I think mine's 8. I think it's 8 or 9 o'clock to 8 or 9 o'clock. But I don't know. I don't ever reset my timers to daylight savings, so it always fluctuates here and there. But I can't remember. It's like right now it comes on about 8:30, somewhere in that range. So
Yeah,
I
Tip
try
Top
to
Magoo in the
shut-
chat says 7 to 7. Bad Money Nutrients says 7 to 7. Shout out to you guys. 7 p.m., 7 a.m. I think having it at 7 too helps because you can get in your room a little bit earlier and get your shit done. That's one of the inconveniences about having your lights on at nighttime for sure.
It also affords you daytime workers, though, the ability to get up at say 5 o'clock in the morning and just bust some shit out and then go take a shower and go to work too, though.
Yeah, that's never happened. Not
You gotta
once.
get that enthusiasm up, son. Be about it.
Not a fucking chance.
Turn up.
me
You're
either.
getting me up at 5:30? No way.
See, I'm cheap. It's a temperature issue and a cheapness issue for me. Mine's 10 to 10 for flower, and I'd be trying to shut anything down during the day, during the summer months to control heat. Plus, it's cheaper to run at night, so I try to run as much shit as I can at night, and it's cooler at night, so I'm not. It's that much less of heat I'm fighting during the day. So it's plus I'm drawing in cooler night air. That's up here. I don't run. I don't run any air conditioning. I'm running in filtered air from outside. It's filtered twice before it comes into the room, and then no CO2 or nothing either.
In the wintertime, how cold is the air when it comes into your room? Is it still like real cold? Do you got to be
Well,
careful of
that's-
like where the air goes when it gets into the room?
Now we're gonna get super cheap on you here. Um,
It's a
during
good
the winter,
question though, right? Because people don't think
Here-
about it, and they will pipe air in
here
from
you go.
outside right onto
No,
their plants. And
you're gonna get this straight up dirt cheap ass shit right here, sequence. During the winter months, I shut the outs. It's no longer sucking in air from outside. It's sucking in air from a hallway across from the door that it would normally suck. And from that point on, I'm no longer pushing my hot air outside through my roof. I flip the fan around and I push that under my house and into my cold air return. And that hot air from my 4K and whatever it's sucking in back here is getting dumped into my cold air return and sucked up and pushed in through my house. And quite frankly, this size of house, I don't even run the heater during the winter. Once in a while, I start a fire, but these fucking lights heat my house.
that shit is
winter.
genius.
For real, for real. That's some frugal growing here, Eagle, man.
That's some straight up shit. That's exactly how I grow. During the summer months, that shit goes straight out through the roof, and during the winter, it heats my house.
Yeah. So back to what I was saying prior to that, which is hilarious, by the way. I've never heard of anybody being able to heat their house with their lights before. I mean, I could damn near do it with my, bedroom attached to my bedroom, but in the winter months, you got to be careful in taking outdoor air, because if that air is really cold and it starts hitting your plants, you can easily kill your plants. So be
Easily
careful
get
of that.
PM too.
Yeah, PM, stuff like that.
Make it rain in the grow room.
Bugs and all kinds of shit like that too, but especially in the wintertime, the, sub below zero temperatures hitting your leaves will definitely kill your plants.
Yeah, it causes all kinds of moisture issues too, because when you got that hot air blowing up against cold air, it's just going to create moisture. It's going to create dew, and it's just going to give you all kinds of problems. So lung rooms are usually the solution of that. Just basically what Eagle was saying. You're pulling out of from an inside room that's already climate controlled, so you don't have to worry about that crap.
And that's a shout out also to your boy, Roy Boy, in the chat as well, who mentioned that.
Shout out to the chat. Chat's been great. Feel free to hit us with any questions or topics you want us to talk about as we go. We're working on figuring out our topics and question as we go as well.
On the things that we're excited about growing, I'm still excited with this frugal grow thing. I've got, funny enough, the other auto that I've been popped, because the first one was a male. I originally popped 2 purple microdots. One was a male, one was a female. I chopped the male and planted a baby Huey. That one's grown up, and that was a male. So I chopped that one, and I planted another baby Huey. It hasn't popped yet, so we'll see what happens with that. But the first originally female purple microdot is, probably looks like at least 2 weeks, probably 3 weeks into flower. By the way it looks, it's almost like growing an outdoor plant indoor. You just kind of have to guess when it switches with these autos. And so I'm saying 2 to 3 weeks in flower right now, and it's just so huge. I wasn't expecting such a big plant on an auto.
Oh yeah, man, they'll just keep going too, because once they're in flower, they kind of keep growing. And yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, I've already got 2 nets, 2 scrog nets over her, and she's easily taken up half of a 4x4 easily right now. And So I'm excited, and it smells like if you do a stem rub, it's like a real just spicy smell. Just smells spicy to me right now, and it's got the really dark calyxes are like purple. The actual calyxes are purple, the little ones, and but the leaves and everything are still green, and of course the pistils are white. But yeah, it's interesting looking plant, and it's my first auto, and I've done nothing but that Coco Loco soil in a sip container. I have the hydrogen balls down the bottom, so I was worried about worms. I just added the first worms this week. I grabbed 4 out of my worm bed and put them in there, and they all slithered in. So I did the first like leaf strip. I haven't taken any leaves off until this point. So I took just the like a lollipop, and I just cut up the if I had any branches I took off, I just cut them up and just threw them right there on top of the mulch layer. I've got straw down right now, and I figured with my worms in there and that stuff, I should be good. And I did give some insect frass, but that's the only nutrient that plants had so far, and it's still green as can be and looking great. And all I've done is given it water the whole time.
A couple
That's-
things to go off of that is to think about. We were talking about the light cycle going 24 hours and everything else. Now we're talking about autoflowers, and this could be a great time if you have a little extra space in your tent or your room to run an autoflower and take that 24 hours of light that you've got. You know what I mean? Hey, fuck it, make it work for you.
Yeah, this is just the corner of a tent that I have my mother's in that I wasn't using for anything else. So I'm going to be able to pull flour out of a freaking mother tent.
That's the cool thing about it. And if I didn't have any concern about smell, I guess I would do it too. Because why wouldn't you just utilize your extra space, whatever corner you got in your room, throw a plant in there? Abolished. I saw you flick your mic off. Was there anything that you wanted to say about the baby Huey that he's growing?
I was just gonna tell him that yeah, his microdot's an absolute monster. I got 2 going. I got the green pheno and the purple pheno, and his one microdot is the size of both of mine put together easily. He's killing it, doing great.
Yeah, I was totally surprised because I've heard I tried to research the strain a little bit to get some kind of clues on how to grow it, and a lot of people say you can hit it with a lot of nutrient and everything. So I was worried that it was going to run out, but just that fucking Coco Loco, and I did put insect frass in there, but and I guess if you want to count worms, maybe they're putting some castings in there, but I've literally just watered this thing, and that's all I've done. I just wait till the water runs out. When it's empty, I give it more water, and it drinks a gallon at a time. It usually takes 2 days to go through a gallon of water, and it's just beasting out.
Don't you just love to say that?
Yeah. So far, I mean, it was just more than what I expected. I didn't know what to think honestly, but it surprised me.
The thing about the autos is they won't all do that. It's kind of sporadic on which ones are really, really strong and which ones aren't. So I grew like 10 Mephisto autos all from the same seeds. One of them was like a pound, but some of them were as small as a couple of ounces, which is still enough, and more like what most people would expect from an auto. But when you harvest a pound once, you're like, damn, why can't all of these be like that, And you wish you could clone it and keep that unicorn that you found and grow it over and over, because the autos do grow huge for pretty low effort, to be honest.
Yeah, that's the thing that's attracted to me because, like you said, I'd be happy with an ounce or two. I don't care. I'm pulling flour every couple months out of a mother tent. Fuck yeah, let's do this. Just get weird flavors, and it's kind of like Pokemon, man. I want to smoke them all.
Well, you're not sacrificing anymore. You're not sacrificing THC content and terpenes and stuff like you used to in the 90s and 2000s when autos were first starting.
And he's already lighting the area up anyway, so it's just all residual free shit, man.
I'm really curious if like anybody in chat or anybody here that's done, like you just said, you did 10 autos and they had various sizes. I've had the same kind of issue with the microdot. I've had all kinds of different sizes of it. I haven't got the monster one like that Spartan's got right now. I wonder if that's a common thing throughout autoflowers. is you'll get a wide variety. You'll get runts, good sized ones, and you'll get monsters all within the same pack.
I would think it's because they're so easy to stunt more than the genetics are so easy to be variable. Because most of the autoflower genetics we're getting are a lot more streamlined than your like F1 genetics. Because as far as I understand, your F1 autos aren't all autoflowers. So a lot of what's for sale are all like F3s or F4s or F5s or whatever. I might be mistaken on that, but so that would lead me to believe that they're more stabilized, not less stabilized. But maybe because they're more finicky, you get a lot more variable of a result.
I
I'm
think
not
you're
sure.
right. I've never even thought about that angle, but I agree with you now 100%. That makes total sense, man, because they can, that's the biggest thing I'm worried about. I didn't want to fuck with it at all. I was a little scared just to clean up the bottoms because I was like, man, I hope this doesn't. But then I was thinking, well, if it's in fucking flower, I want it to stop growing up anyway. So it's already past the second net. So the main cola is so, but yeah, I think you're right. You try not to stress it at all because its days are numbered from the beginning. It's not like you can make up for it in a veg or anything. So that's probably 100% it. If you stressed it with so many things that we can stress our plants with, there's a million of them. And yeah, maybe it's just a sign of, when you get the big vigorous growth like that, you just got one that you didn't stunt. It just went right through everything.
Like Dank Man Dan says, he's got 12-inch autos and 4-foot autos from the same packs. And yeah, that's my experience too.
But wouldn't you? I think one of my biggest concerns would be overwatering, because we know what that does to stunting growth and everything else. And man, that could get real dicey because you don't have long to make up for it.
Well, I think that's why that sip system I have it in is so great, because it just sips up. Sips up. It just sucks up. It like absorbs the water on its own. So it just goes off osmotic pressure. So there's no overwatering. You just fill the res, and it waters itself.
I would have
Yeah.
years ago, if I would have tried this, I would have probably tried to grow it out in like a DWC 10-gallon rope tote. It's like a really big fucking air pump. You know what I mean? Just start it off in the fucking
There's people
solo
that do
cup
it.
and transplant right into that 10-inch net pod and just see what it does. Be as big as you want.
Yeah, there's people that do it, and they grow some monsters. I've seen some stuff on go to Autoflower Network. You can see some pretty cool stuff there.
Man, I'm just loving hearing you talk about the frugal system and how good it's doing for you. It just brings a big old smile to my face. Too bad I don't have a camera tonight.
I was just gonna ask, so is like the variety in autoflowers just like part of the fun for people? Because I've thought about them a little bit, and I won like a free 3-pack of them that I'm gonna like pop and run. But I think it would like bother me to not be able to run the same plant over and over. You know what I mean? Like I like the clone aspect of it. So is that just like something that you accept, or are there like companies that have plants that are like consistently auto flowering into the same flower?
As
So-
a medicine, there's always going to be a variance, though. You know what I mean? From plant to plant,
Yeah.
unless it's clone sort.
Like Mephisto sells the same lines, so you can buy the same lines over and over. They have a regular line that they'll sell. So you can buy the same seeds over and over again if you wanted to. There are some people that have successfully cloned autoflowers. I don't know much about that, but that's a thing as well. And then there's also, like you said, like the lottery ticket type approach, or like people like just popping them and seeing what happens, then moving on to the next thing too. And I can see the appeal of that, especially now with so many genetics coming out. I want to run something new every day. So maybe it's all of the above.
Yeah, for me, I'm just accepting that, but it's a give and take. What I get in return for accepting the fact that I'm not going to be able to clone this is I can pull some flower out of my mother tent. You know what I mean? I can't do that with the regular way of a photoperiod plant that I can clone. I have the ability to clone, yes, and keep those genetics, and that's actually the majority of the way that I grow. But the autoflower is just like a niche thing, that's the only. It's filling a role that nothing else really can.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a plant that you don't even have to care about, right? You just kind of threw it in the corner and watered it and got what you got when you're done with it. And it was like a bonus thing.
Yeah, and I think I could be fine with it as like a bonus, but I think that as like trying to consistently grow them, it would annoy me to have that much variety. You know what I mean? Like I want to be able to run 2 fucking Durbans next to each other, and so I can look at them comparatively and say, okay, this plant's not happy and this plant is. You mean like as a newer grower, that's helpful for me. So I think that like the variety or the variation that comes with autos would be like panic inducing for me. Maybe, I don't know. I'll pop that pack and see what they do for
I
me.
definitely can understand that. It's nice to be able to clone a plant and be like, okay, I know that all of these are going to be 6 ounces, you know, or whatever, and you got a pretty good idea what your harvest is going to be.
Butter breath that it grows so fucking weird. And like, so I finally asked my buddy about it yesterday, like, what the fuck is this plant? And he's like, that's peanut butter breath. You know what I mean? And I was like, I thought I was like fucking this plant up, but just because it's so weird looking, you know? So like, I think constantly popping packs where you might have one that just like fucking looks weird, or you know how you have to get some like certain strains you have to get dialed in with like newts. Like you wouldn't have the opportunity to do that with the autoflower as much, you know what I mean? So like I think some of them you might be missing their potential, I guess, but it's like you said, it's like a trade-off. It's like a bonus thing.
For
But
me, for me, it's none of that. I have none of that stress. It's like completely stressless growing. It's like, it's my hobby grow. It's my tomato in my backyard. I have it in the corner of a mother tent. Was taking up a 2x4, but it's blowing out a 2x4 in a mother tent right now. And I'm growing it, and I literally took a bag of Coco Loco, put it in my sip container, and I've just watered the shit, and that's all I've fucking done. There's no figuring out nutrients. There's none of that bullshit. I threw a couple worms in there just because I like fucking around like that, and I just, now that it looks like it's about 2 weeks in the flower, I did some lollipopping, and that's the only maintenance I've done to the thing.
No recharge yet?
I did give it its first dose of recharge because I just wanted some recharge. Shout out to the Do Grow Show. They shouted me out for answering questions on their website, and
Yeah, I heard that. I was like, that's pretty cool. He didn't just like win it for no like random giveaway thing. They gave it to you because you were like being helpful. I thought that was kind of neat that they pointed that out on there.
yeah, yep, and I was totally stoked for that, and that was super awesome. So then, obviously, that's just another frugal avenue I could go with. So, you know, fate shined on me, and I got me some recharge in there. So now she's really gonna blow up. I don't want to give her too much more. I don't like recharging too deep into flowers. So she may get one more, depending on how she starts drinking. But then I'll be going right back to straight water. But that's what it is. It's just easy. I don't have to worry about cloning it because you can't get it back. So I don't have to worry about cloning it and stressing about if it's going to root or any of that crap. It's a plant that you just know it's a one go. So you don't have to invest all that time and energy. So it's almost like a, just exactly what you said, Kate. It's just like a bonus, So it's just like it's like a novel thing. I find myself going over to it every day and just like Googling over it because, wow, look at this, can do all this on its own. I mean, an auto is more than just an auto cycle. It's almost like an automatic plant. And it's super cheap. I mean, I'm just giving it water.
Yeah, and there's something else I wanted to talk about too when we talk about autos. We're only talking about them so far as the aspect of indoor. And outdoor is really relevant, especially here in Michigan when we have our shitty summer cycle that we do. And I'm really going to try running 2 cycles. Like Lee in the chat is talking about, if you put autos on 2-foot centers in an acre of land, you can produce 6,000 to 8,000 pounds every 80 to 110 days. Which I don't know the math on that per plant or whatever, but that's, in the amount of days you could do it in 2 harvests, with 2 harvests per year. So that's something that's really intriguing here in Michigan when we got our short summer, and I'm definitely trying that next year. So I want to talk a little bit about running autos outside.
The thing is we gotta, just like how we learned how to do photos so well that we feel comfortable going outdoors with them, we got to do the same thing with autos, because I mean, all of us, including myself, have had issues and with autos indoors, stunning them, whatever. And that's my biggest thing is like, just like indoors, the reason why I'll only consider them for fun or like a hobby grow is because of the variance. Like when you're popping, like some people are getting monsters, some people are getting runts, like, and then I don't know if my patients are going to like the meds every time. If I clone, I know the patients like the meds. there's just too many variables for me as a caregiver to ever dedicate my indoors to autos. But outdoors, I see the potential if we can figure out how to do it. Otherwise, we're all going to get outside and we're going to end up with 1 foot autos because we stunted them.
Yeah, and I don't think
Yeah.
it's as hard as we're making it out to be. I mean, the damn plants are made to grow outside. So I think growing outside is honestly pretty easy compared to growing indoors when we're trying to control everything. So in all these complicated ways, um, part of growing outdoor to me this year was kind of like accepting stuff though. I'd walk out to my plants and see little bites on it and stuff. And I wouldn't like, if I did that, saw that indoors, I'd freak out, but seeing it outdoors, you're just like, whatever, it's outdoors. And then the plant's finished and they're completely fine. So I think there's really something to it. And it's no harder than growing indoor, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I'm gonna plan on try to do that outdoor next year too with some autos. I don't know if I might do a couple just to give it a test. But I'm thinking that if I'm worried about getting them stressed or whatever, like too much light out, I mean, for a couple autos, they don't tend to get very huge, so they might be easier to manage, like a makeshift canopy or some plastic or some shade cloth that you can throw over, and really minimize things that might stunt the autos that you didn't think you could control. Yeah, there's still controls out there, and some of them can be pretty cheap. So I mean, it's gonna be fun to see the different, just like anything, the stoner mind can figure out the way, it seems like. So it's cool to be in a group of like-minded stoners. So it'll be fun to figure out autos outdoor.
Yeah, we're gonna have to experiment. Like, we're gonna have to have people that go right into the ground. We're gonna have to have people that do, say, a 30-day indoor period to give it a quote unquote hardening off period and give it a little, strength, and then throw it outside and see how it does. I'd be real curious. Like, I'm not sure on the approach that I want to do just yet.
So what I would do with my brief experience with autos would, if I was going to do an outdoors, I would start it in like a solo cup, beer cup. I would start it in that size indoor, and give it a little bit of time to, our method with the clear cup, so you can see the roots, but put that clear cup into a solid cup to keep the light out. But just watch the roots, and once the roots are down towards the bottom where they're getting close to hit the bottom, do that really quick fucking transplant really carefully, because it's going to fall all over the place. Or you can let it dry out if you want to try to do that, but that's going to stress the plant. I just let it stay pretty moist and then dump it out like a root ball and just smash it into a hole in the ground, because it just flops everywhere anyway. And I did that with a purple microdot. That's that beast. And the one that the other purple microdot, I did the same thing, but it was a male. I had to cut it, so the baby Huey that I planted just right straight in the soil, and it seemed to be a smaller squatter plant. I know it's a different strain, so this is very empirical, I guess. But for me, it seems like the plant took off way better once you left it you stepped it up just like you would a photo plant from a small one to the final pot. I know a lot of the auto thing was to start in the final pot to not stress it, but I didn't find that with the purple microdot, and I've got one that's filling a 2x4 right now. So,
Well, and stress is how we make a lot of the best parts about our cannabis when you think about it. From low stress training to topping, which is like high stress training, you're cutting the plant in half, to all the other things that we do, light drought stress, ice water, extra darkness, all the other things that we do in growing, flushing.
yeah, sometimes stress is a good thing. Sometimes that stress response, a lot of the cannabinoids are produced as a stress response, to protect the plant. So
You mentioned insect frass. What does that do?
yeah, that does the same thing. It stimulates the immune system of the plant. So to let off signals and think its own natural defenses against pests, so that it's not even attracted to them.
reading something interesting. It was talking about, I think I might be wrong, but I think it was talking about tricantanol smells like aphids when they die, and so therefore like other things smell that and stay away. I don't know what the hell it was. Kind of high, but it was along those lines.
Yeah, I heard the same thing. So yeah, plants developed basically their own pheromone to smell the same way, so that the aphids would think they were dying aphids near it, so they would naturally not want to go near there.
The more I learn about this plant, the more fascinated and drawn in I become, I swear.
That's pretty fascinating stuff. I haven't heard that.
That's where terps come in as well. Smells, that's its natural defense. That's why some are more pest resistant than others. Is it may be a higher, I can't even tell you which one it is. I just know that some, that's its defense. Some are more, have one terp that will ward off things better than others, as well as hormones, I guess. But that's what I've always heard is its plants management is through the terp system, the scent it puts off.
I find another empirical thing, I guess, but I find the piney, if you get anything that's really piney, that seems to be pest resistant.
Pine is definitely something that I want to grow, and I've been speaking with someone about getting some pine strains.
I'm looking at it right now. He's just below me on this Brady Bunch picture, y'all. It's Eagle Gardens. Talk to us about that plant, brother.
She's looking pretty good. I can't wait to see if she really turns up to that pine level, Pine Valley. Uh, and it's what I'm chasing too. If that don't work out, I'm digging. I'm gonna find something. Between the two of us, we should be able to come
Yeah,
up
definitely.
with something piney for sure.
We'll put our heads together.
But yeah, I'm right there with you. That's the terp I'm chasing right now. And with Abolish chasing the skunk, shit, them are my two all times. My terp chase might be over between this group right here.
But you're
Well,
holding that blue bear headband.
It's a neat group that we have. We can together, search through these strains. Like, you can pop a pack of something and then find the keeper and then pass it out to people, just like I'm doing the same thing. And then pretty quickly, we all have some pretty cool variety in our gardens.
Well, that's been the talk all day, is like taking clones and who wants what and overages.
And on top of all that, there's your bank. Now you have, your buddies have your back when your shit takes a heavy hit by something. You have to just fucking kill everything. You get all your strains back because they're sitting there holding your strains. So it's like a win-win all the way around for everybody. It's fucking awesome.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And does the piney need to be the main terp? Because I think it's either the second or third highest terp in the OG is pine. It's orange, pine, and cinnamon.
That's what I want it to be. The main terp is pine. That's what I'm hoping for. Something super pine. I want to smell pine needles when I open that bag. I want it when I smell.
Oh yeah.
I had a Serious Seeds AK-47 that was like that, man. But you don't see that anymore.
Is it like a fresh laundry smell? Like, is that what you're explaining?
More like a pine tar.
Okay.
Most of the AKs nowadays, they chase that damn cherry AK-47. That's what they're looking for these days. That's right.
I think I'm going to be chasing it through the Dominion vault of seeds, different varieties of theirs, trying to get pine that way. They have some really cool ones.
Shout out to Jack Greenstock. He's chasing the pine too, I think. He was talking about a
Pine tar Kush.
Pine tar Kush, yeah.
Yep. If that works for him, if he says positive things about that, I'll be buying that and running that from too, for sure.
Who is that by?
I'm not sure, but I know who I can ask. Jack knows everything. When I ask him, he's got a source and an article. I'll be like, "Hey, Jack, what about that thing you said that one time?" And he just calls back to it. It's like he argues with people on Facebook all the time because he's always got like literature. I love that guy.
He,
I know we
mentioned-
talked about. Sorry. Say, I know we talked about it before, but what is the effect of the pine? Like, why exactly are you guys looking for it?
I like the stone and the taste from it. It's we've talked about it several times. So for the people that are listening at home that don't want to hear it again, sorry, but it's basically, it gives you that clarity. It's an uppy kind of just, I don't know, energizing high. It's really, really nice, man. It's old school.
Medicinal effects are noted for PTSD and inflammation. which are
And
both
brain fog too, man. Brain fog,
Yeah.
seriously. If you get your hands on
Memory.
some pine, it'll fucking square you right up.
Yeah, it
For
helps with
me,
memory and
myself,
stuff.
I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to cut anybody off.
No, go
For
ahead.
me, for me, myself, it's a great social smoke. It's a nice and clear head that you can carry on a great conversation. But in the same aspect, if you push it and you smoke enough of it, everybody's in a great mood, and it's a very laughy buzz for me. It's just an all around great buzz. I appreciate it. That's for sure.
Bankman 420 says Christmas bud, which I have heard of that before. Like what is it, 72 Christmas bud? Is that like the famous one or something like that? But yeah, maybe that's a pinene one that we can look at as well.
It's
Sounds like it play really well with a CBD strain.
Yeah,
Just wanted
and
to-
we're talking about piney strains though. It makes me think of like a gin and tonic, which I say it tastes like a sad Christmas. So like, I bet there is a super like gin and tonic tasting strain out there.
I had a strain. Shout out to Tricky D and Land and Air Genetics. They did a cross for Jinx Proofs, and they called it Puzzle Piece. And the cross was something like South Florida Crippy times, I want to say Blue Tangerines, maybe that was Tricky D's cut. But that stuff, I mean, it doesn't sound anything like the taste what you guys are describing, but the high is exactly what you're describing. It was one of those ones that just makes you talkative and just happy. I just call it the happy weed. And
That's why I smoke GG4. GG4 does that to me. Just euphoric, like bubbly, upper high, really good socially. And then, like Eagle said, if you smoke enough of it, it'll get you where you want to go, and still doesn't put you down and make you want to fall asleep.
yeah, it almost gives you a little bit of energy.
My crescendo gives me energy. Every time I smoke it, I clean my house, which is good. That's good.
Maybe I need to get that one then. I need more sativa in my life.
It's pretty good. It's a fast flowering sativa. That's how I'd explain it. The effects are definitely pretty sativa uplifting.
Oranges and grapefruits are too for me as well. If I get anything grapefruit, man, I'm up doing something real quick within like 15
Maybe
minutes.
maybe that's part of it. It's got orange in it. It's an orange cookie strain, and it definitely has those uplifting effects in the buzz for sure. Maybe that's part of it.
So I always
let
sit
you
here
know.
thinking about what are you gonna pop next? What are you gonna pop next? So I'm debating in my head right now. I've wanted to pop these Irie Genetics. I've got these orange gasms because I don't have anything orange. But at the same time, I was gifted by shout out to Hermit who's missing today. I was gifted some Newberry seeds from DJ Short. So like I keep going back and forth between those two, trying to figure out which one. It's like every day I got a different one.
Yeah, both of those sound awesome. So you can't
Doesn't
go
sound like you
wrong.
can go wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eagle, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say I'd like to go on the record and say a big thanks to Old Man in Red. I know this is an open invitation, but they've left me with this I forgot my phone feeling all fucking night. So big shout out to them for not being here. You guys are
Red said he may show up here in the last half hour or so, so we'll see. He's going to try and make it so he can smoke with us before we get off of here.
Oh yeah, cameo appearance, bust in for the smoke down, finish the sesh out. That'd be great.
Prometheus Soil asked me if any of my outdoor crescendo went to seed. I purposely seeded a few branches of my outdoor crescendo, so I have some seeds. And not all of the seeds were mature, but like 90% of the seeds were mature. So I think that they're going to be pretty good seeds. I'm going to pop them. Thank you for the question. That was actually really cool. I've never done that before. Never seeded any plants, never tried to intentionally pollinate anything. And I did it, and I managed to not seed the rest of the branches, which was kind of the goal, to see if I could successfully do that. So all of it's smokable. It's not like a huge chore to find the seeds or anything, which is really neat. And
So
I'm
what's the
going to
tech?
be doing that more for sure. I just used a paintbrush. I went and bought a little paintbrush like you would use for like a watercolor set, and then brushed pollen on the pistils, and done deal.
And how many seeds do you think you get that are off of that?
I'm not done looking yet. I'm going through as I smoke it and like looking at the buds and stuff, because every now and again I'll grab one. But
Seeing
I
some
haven't
nice
even,
mature ones?
yeah, I've got probably 20 mature seeds so far. So I'm excited to run those and see what they look like.
You gonna run them indoor or you gonna run them outdoor?
Both. I'm gonna run them both and see.
That'd be cool.
10 and
Yeah.
10.
My first little breeding project ever. So the first time I've ever intentionally pollinated something. I have seeded plants before, like most growers have, in poor grow conditions, but this will be a better experience. I've never grown out any of those shit seeds, but these ones would be cool.
So if you grow a couple of the seeds outdoor and you get a 50-50, you get say a one male and one female. Are you gonna let them both grow out and just see what the hell they do together and do an F1 cross right there naturally?
Oh, I don't know. That would be interesting, right? It would
Yeah.
pollinate all the bud. It is
Right.
really interesting right now going through this bud and looking for seeds and being like, not disappointed when you find one, being more excited than not. So that's kind of a change in experience too. Instead of being like, damn it, it's a seed in here or whatever. It's like, sweet, I got a bag of these things.
Abolish, what do you think over there?
I was kind of curious on what he was going to name it, because I did my first pollination too, like on purpose, and it was successful. And I'm considering running it all out myself too.
I don't
What
know
was
about
your
a
crop?
name yet. It's gonna probably depend on the flavor of it and stuff, because I don't want to go with the lineage because it's already got too many names. So I'll probably put the lineage down, but name it something different related to the flavor.
Just
Alright,
named
yeah,
my strain today. I just showed you guys my cross. That was I went with I usually call when I accidentally pollinate something like that, I save them seeds and I call them beautiful mistakes. But for some reason today, this round I popped some of them. As soon as they came out of that bud, I was like, man, I know these are going to be good. So I threw them directly into the dirt, and I called out some males and I have a couple of females. And as I was looking at it today, for some reason that Bob Seger song stuck in my head, "Beautiful Loser" instead of "Beautiful Mistake," and I went with
Oh.
that. Yeah,
So you
most
call them
people would
beautiful
wait.
loser seeds?
Beautiful Loser is going to be the name of that strain.
Good
I like
luck.
it.
Yeah, I wish you the best because that's just a fucking awesome name for a fucking seed and a great story for it to, the background story too.
So Dankman Dan asks if we can do a smoke review on Primal Punch. I think we've all smoked it. Spartan, you grow it, right?
Yeah, I just like to just say it's kind of like to me it's like a little it's very sweet. You get a little bit of banana usually on the exhale, and I get a little bit of gas on the one that I decided to keep. It's like a little bit of a not so much funk, which I call like a skunky end. It's not that, but it's like a kind of a gassiness note to it. But
Did you get it? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's usually pretty good. I like it. It's still a keeper. We're still keeping it around.
I was gonna say, did you get any of the fruit punch smell that Dankman Dan said he got on any of your phenos? No.
I only
Eagle
got-
did. Eagle got
Yeah,
fruit punch.
Eagles fruit or a primal punch they gave us that taste and smelled like fruit punch.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
remembered that for sure.
Mine's definitely fruity, almost fruity pebbles, and it's a real glue leaner. It's one I end up keeping out of that.
And she smokes real smooth.
Yeah, I think I only had 3 plants to choose from, and I just picked the one that was the most banana. That's the one I was running after.
The bud that Red Setter and I trimmed at Old Man's house was blue nana, and that smell or that tasted more like banana than any bud I've ever smoked before. Like I've had strawberry banana, which is a pretty popular one. But I was really impressed. I was like, holy shit, this kind of tastes like that artificial banana flavor that you get from like Laffy Taffy or whatever.
I was just gonna say, to me, Primal Punch always tastes like fruit, but like fake fruit, like fruit flavoring, or like what's generally accepted as like blue raspberry. How there's like, you mean like this is the fake flavor that is fruit, but in weed.
Grape drank.
That's a really good description of it.
I like that though. Like certain strains, unfortunately, Red's not here, but like Grape Ape is known for having like a artificial grape flavor to it, and not like a authentic grape flavor to it.
Yeah, and I found the Primal Punch to be very similar to the GG4 High. Like, that must be a dominant thing with the cross or something, because it reminded me a lot of the GG4.
Which I'm excited to get clones of that from you, man.
Yeah, I had 2 of those. So I got one for you and one for Abolished, I believe. I have it written down somewhere.
Yep, GG4 is coming back to the garden.
I just think it's great because I've watched them grow that plant since like 2013 or 14. You know what I mean? Like I've seen it in different situations, different gardens, how it produces, and it's just pretty, man. And then the smoke is nice.
Yeah, the only tip I have for you, or the only downside, I guess, is just make sure you support her, and the earlier you get the supports, the better off you are. Because stems are usually so like octopus sometimes. So just get her supported and keep her. As long as you got her supported, she'll just pack on the weight. As long as you want to, you could probably slam her with nutrients if you wanted to. I always grew her mostly organic, so.
I've been using like the tomato cages and shit in the swap pots. And then when I go ahead and transfer over into the bed, my first level scrog is actually just underneath the top of those. So it works out perfectly for me. Then I can double down on it. But yeah, I've grown a form of glue in the past, and it was like really rickety. And, as the buds really picked up the weight, you're like, fuck, man, these are going to break on me.
Yeah, like Dankman Dan says, yo-yos are great too, and scrog nets. You guys are talking about GG4, which obviously I've grown the Citra glue, which is GG4 cross, and I've got some GG4 leaners that are really, they need the support, which thankfully I have the scrog net. But right now, the sour melon is that plant. It's got the gangly branches, and I've got them all weaved in the net right now, and I'm really excited to see what that one does. Abolish keeps warning me about the stretch on it, so we'll see. Hopefully, it's as bad as he says it is, because that means good things for my yield. We'll see how it does.
She doubles my OG and every other strain that I've ran against her. But she also gets another 14 to 20 days of flower too.
Yeah, see, your OG in flower so far hasn't stretched much at all. I've picked up maybe 4 or 5 inches, and it's been in for 5 days now.
She'll do it until about week 3. You'll double it, maybe a little bit more, 150%.
I'm assuming them traits come from the cheese side, cheese traits of it.
What was that?
I'm assuming that the longer flower time and whatnot is from the cheese side of it. Cheese tree.
Oh no, I was talking about the sour melon being a longer one, but yeah, you can that you'll see amber and 60 on that one, but you can run it longer. And like I said, I don't know if that's cheese. It was just handed to me as a cheese cut. And over the years, all the other cheeses that I smoked, it didn't have a similar profile. And so I decided to stop calling it that. I didn't think it gave it justice.
I definitely, when I smoked it, I noted a little bit of cheese, or I thought I noted some cheese.
You would know. So I mean, I appreciate that.
So for anyone that doesn't know what we were talking about or doesn't know what we were talking about, I just made up a word. Doesn't. We're doing a Thanksgiving thing. Kate, do you know how to say it? Old man's not here.
I was just gonna say it sequence. I know you can. I have faith in you.
I don't even know how to write it.
Flanks blinging.
No, that's not right.
Flanks
Blankenbluben.
That's not right.
That is not right. Old man would be so disappointed in us right now.
blinging.
Flanks gen Glenbing.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're doing a Thanksgiving thing on the 9th. So we're going to exchange cuts and clones with each other and smoke down and eat some food and all of that stuff. So that's why we're talking about running each other's stuff, because we're planning some swaps right now of our genetics.
Yeah, I think I got the abolished coming my way.
I wrote down some on a list.
Yeah, I've got a list around here somewhere, but I got it. I got all of mine except for I don't think I have anything left except for a possible blue cough out there and maybe one of the pheno hunt plants. That's all I've got available now. Everything else has been accounted for.
And the pheno cut was a 2020 Mendocino, right?
Yeah, I know half the cross is the sour snow. I don't know what it was crossed with.
If it doesn't get accounted for, I'm definitely interested in having it for sure. It looks like it's, you said it's strawberry, so that's already got an interest in me, at least growing
And
it.
gas. It's like a gassy strawberry. It's a weird
Yeah.
weird thing. Sometimes I think the gas is a little bit more powerful than the strawberry even on it. But I don't know. There's just something that pulls me to that plant. You know, as soon as I smell it, I'm like, yeah, I want that one. So, but yeah, it's a nice. The biggest thing I can say about it, and it's funny because a lot of you guys have said the same thing on even other strains by 2020 is how vigorous and like strong they grow, girthy.
Yes. Speaking on that, I actually have to figure out a way to get back to my aeroponic cloning because the 2020 strains that I want to keep are so thick and girthy that I can't use my clone dome because they blow out the damn cubes. None of those things were able to root because they were just too big. So I'm gonna have to either set up a separate area for the aeroponic cloner because my baby room is just too hot. The water will get too warm. Or I'll have to look into seeing if it's cheaper just to get, say, a water cooler for the aeroponic cloner, which is something that I've never done.
I got one for you. I am in the process of converting. I know this is a fucking bullshit ass MacGyver stuff, but I'm going to convert a cooler into my cloner. So I'm going to cut a hole in the top of it. And I'm going to take my oxyclone top for the 20 and put it on top of there. And I'm going to get a little bit bigger pump, maybe because I'll have a bigger water area, and install a little drain in the bottom, little spigot, so I can drain it out easily and shit, you know, make it easier for myself, and see how that does for temperatures as far as the room. It might help.
You
I
can
don't know
put
why I didn't think of that. That's
freeze
something
bottles
that
of water and toss them in your thing. Abolish.
You can do that as well. And you can also buy those small cycle timers where it'll come on for 15, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, and just keep, it's like a manual one. You know, you can get the digital ones, but I would get the manuals that just repeatedly does it all day. And you can have it cycle your pumps on and off.
Do you have access to a basement? If you put it directly on the basement floor,
Yeah.
That'll really help cool it down.
Yeah, my floor is like a black tile, so it stays really, really nice and cool. That's where I'm wanting to set it up at, because where my baby area is now, I have a 2x4 tent that I put sideways on top of a 4x2 tent, and it's just enough clearance or whatever. And I use that sideways as a baby or clone keeping area, but that gets way too hot for aeroponic cloner.
Well, I mean, you can also set up, I've seen a lot of people that set them up in like a spare bathroom or whatever else, and they're just using like a simple CFL. You're just trying to get it to root. You're not trying to get it to grow. You know what I mean? So go to a cooler place in your house, set up, see what you can get out of it. You can put it in your closet if you want to. Buy a tote that's a little bit bigger than the cloner that you're using, set it in there, and it'll be ambient temperature. It shouldn't be too hot.
Yeah, I got to do it within the next day or two, because I got those things flipped, and I don't want to lose it, because I already see the promise in 2 of the phenols that I've popped. The other one, it looks like it's probably favored the male or the female in the whatever the cross, but I just don't like the way that one looks. The other 2 with those big, thick, freaking stalks and leaves, like, geez, I can't imagine what it's gonna yield. And then it's a cross of mimosa and sour strawberries. That's gonna be amazing tasting. At least it should.
Yeah, it definitely should. So I'm not sure if Eagle can hear us, but we're spotlighting his video as he opens up his grow tents.
I like this part of the show.
Feels like you're a peeping Tom kind of though.
His feed froze for me. I can't even see anything even moving now.
The tank's so strong it fucked up the signal.
The Terps fucked it all up.
I like watching Eagle do stuff because you can tell it's like the 38,000th time he's done something. You know what I mean? Like he's so like methodical about shit when he like is going around doing.
Yeah, he's an efficient man. He's got a lot of plants in there. It's crazy the amount of work he gets done.
I'm so old, it reminds me of the old Dunkin' Donuts commercials with that little dude that would like wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and shuffle in. It's like, time to make the donuts. Anybody remember that shit?
Yeah, I quote it all the time, but not from the actual commercial. I quote it because Jerome Bettis said it all the time. And Jerome Bettis was the shit. So I started quoting Jerome Bettis all the time. So I say, time to make the donuts, quoting a running back from the NFL. But it's from that exact commercial. Eagle is back. Eagle, we were spotlighting your video as you were opening your tents up, and then we lost you.
Figures. Hopefully that's last week of this crappy internet shit.
Unlikely, my friend. Unlikely. Gotta drag it out for you.
All right, Noah. How's that
Hey,
look?
you look good. It's like feng shui in there. You got the purple corner, and then you got the gold. Look at that.
Over there. A little bit of babies over there. And back over here, there's more shit that you can't see. I try to stay busy under my legal license.
That's where you hide the plants that aren't good enough for the camera. I got you.
Different cycle.
I'm impressed at how clean that carbon filter is behind your head.
Each tent has a filter.
Very nice.
Sucking in the hot air out of the top.
Usually I go in a grow room and there's a carbon filter that looks about brown all the way around. Like, man, you're gonna at least change that filter or just pull it off.
Oh man, I just lost the light. What's up?
Is that and like a
Oh,
gel from like 17 months ago, and they can't figure out why their house fucking reeks.
Eagle, there's a guy in a Scream mask outside your house with bolt cutters, and he took one of your power lines out just now.
He's gonna be pissed because that's Eagle's outfit.
Fucking showdown.
Like, this is where I keep the weights, guy.
This is where I train for shit like this.
Hey, guy.
Man, I gotta get used to these screens. Oh, she fired back up. I wonder what the hell that was about.
Maybe it's a temperature thing.
Up there in the hinterland.
You never know.
All right, has there been anything that's been on any of your guys' minds that you want to chat about? We got half an hour left here. Something grow related.
We were talking about starting seeds earlier this week and the different methods of it and all that and why I'd had trouble. And I stopped and I thought about it and I was like, well, I figured out what I did. Even though I only used the Happy Frog to transplant into, I had grown that mycelium in it. And so when I planted those seeds into it, they like kind of took off and then they sort of fucking like shriveled up and died. I still have one that's going. So shout out to 2020 Mendocino. It is their glue sniffer that survived. So I'm going to have to back up and punt and go buy some regular soil that I don't fuck with. It's nice and weak so I can get this shit done.
So you think it was the mycelium that kind of over-dominated the seed while it was still young?
I don't know. I just know that it was okay for a day or two, and I had them under a clone dome. The humidity was decent on it, so I'm gonna have to back up and punt and try something else again. So I had said earlier in the group chats that this is why I sometimes prefer clones. It's not because clones are better; it's because I'm worse. There's one to grow on.
Have you ever tried the Root Riot cubes? I really like those, man. They're so much easier. Yeah, that's what I use my seeds, man. I put my seeds just in one of those.
That's what I'm doing next.
Okay. Yeah, because then it kind of, there's like no nutrition in those, so you don't have to worry about it burning or whatever like that. I just leave them in there until I see a root poke out, and then I put that right into a little cup of soil, like a Fox Farm would be fine.
Just as a newer person to transition over to trying to do this organically, that sometimes I forget stupid shit like that. I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? It's not a matter of, you're feeding them at such and such low ppm rate, like 200 and shit when they're seedlings. It's the soil itself is fucking hot. So even though I'm just using water, it was just too much. It could be a concentration issue. I could do something like cut that soil with more neutral soil and balance it out. So, it's a learning curve.
You could probably get away with just put it in a moist Root Riot cube and then planting that right into your soil. You could probably even do that, and you'd be okay.
It makes sense. I've roasted established clones from the dispensary one in my beginning years in Happy Frog within like a week. That's pretty hot stuff sometimes. People normally mix it.
Shout out to the chat. Prometheus Soil's got a good idea. You could use some of that Coco Loco. That'd be a perfect thing to plant those in.
I know I have to go back to my store and tell him, hey man, you don't have to carry it all the time, but you got to carry a bag for me. And he's already told me. So it's just a matter of, how it is. Like you work all the time and shit, and you just don't have time to get to the store all the time.
Me and Miss C are going to bring you a bag of Coco Loco.
I got you covered.
Last week I was talking about how I didn't really know what I was going to do with like a bunch of my plants or like my grow moving forward. So I'm pretty excited. I have like a concrete plan now and like a schedule figured out for watering and shit. I'm going to go with Coco Loco and nectar. So actually abolished, I'm going to like send you my schedule in a minute or when we're done here at some point and see what you think about it. But I'm kind of excited to do that. And like as part of my excitement, I popped some rabbit hole seeds from Scapegoat. But I went back to my like paper towel method because that's my favorite, or like the one that I've had the least amount of like fuck ups with, I guess.
I use the paper towel method. I think it works really, really well. Sometimes I'll put them in a shot glass first, and sometimes I won't. But it's really tried and true method for me. I get like 90+%. Kyle Gardner popped in.
What up, Kyle?
Welcome to the Thunderdome.
I think he's in the drive-through.
I want a milkshake.
Cut me in or cut it out.
You at the ATM? He's at Taco Bell.
Yo quiero Taco Bell. Hello.
He has a craving that only tacos can satisfy.
Are you ready to take my order? Sure, go right ahead.
Don't worry, I muted him.
Aw, that was half the fun. You could mock his dietary choices.
Probably all vegan.
Can I get a
Right.
glass of water?
Hold the ice.
Kate, would you like to answer some questions for me?
Sure.
It's a multi-part question, really. It'd be based on your extraction process. What was it before? How did you approach your material? Did you kind of look at it to see how you would work it pre-testing? And then the second part of the question, it would be, since a lot of growers are testing their stuff more, do you want to see their testing first before you even look at how you're going to extract? Because the different terps can be extracted in different methods, correct? Different chemicals can pull off different terps. Is there any truth to that? So by the test records would approach how you're going at the material, correct? But before that, before testing, how did you approach it? Just when people had brought you bags of shit, did you look at it? How'd you look at it, and what was your approach on going at your material?
Oh, fuck. You guys can hear me now? Sweet.
Yeah, now you're unmuted because you're not.
All right.
It was so funny watching him scream at his phone, trying to figure out how to unmute it for like the last 25 seconds.
25 full seconds. All right, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Keep going. Keep talking.
Very good. Usually people would say like they want a certain kind of product out of it. You know what I mean? Like, I want this to be shatter or batter or crumble or whatever else. And then sometimes you have to do different, starting like, you know, starting with frozen, starting with dry, whatever. And then lots of times you have to be like, you can't do that with whatever you have, you know what I mean? But as far as like looking at test results or terpene profiles, I'm like definitely not advanced enough into extracting, nor do I think that you could on like a closed loop BHO system to say like, I want this specifically. I think a lot of times like looking at material, it's more like looking at if it's good material or not, like, you know, like how much of the trim is like fucking fan leaves that don't have trichomes on it, and how much of it is like close up bud because they trimmed it. You know what I mean? Like those are more the things that you look at, or like how well did they pack it in a bag, especially when it's frozen. You know, like stuff like that, rather than like the terp profiles.
It would seem that now that terps are so crazy and people are adding and stacking and whatnot, it would seem like that you'd want to pull off that strain's terps. If you could pull off that strain's terps right off the top and reintroduce them. I know there's a way to do that, but looking at the test results, can't you go, well, this is high in pinene, for example, and hexane works better at taking.
Yeah, you froze up, but I think what he was asking is saying, like, could you extract terps from certain things? So, and yeah, you can do that. You can say, I want to make diamonds out of GMO, let's say, because I know the terps that are going to come off of that are going to be whatever, and I want to put them back into terpene carts. So you can do different like extraction forms, like that'll yield THCA and then terpenes separately with the kinds of extractions that I know how to do. And with other kinds of extractions, I'm sure that you could do more specific terpene extractions than that, you know what I mean? But you could say, like, with this strain, I want it to be THCA diamonds and then separate terpenes. But with this strain, I want it to be like a shatter type material, you know what I mean? And there are some strains that are better at certain things. You know, there are certain strains that are better at making diamonds. There are certain strains that are better at making stable shatter. And I don't know how much of that has to do with like the terps that are in them versus, you know, a bunch of other factors. But also terpenes are a solvent, so that's going to affect how stable things will stay, or a whole bunch of stuff. You know what I mean?
Are terpenes cannabinoids? They're not the same, right? There's only certain numbers, like what, 13 or something. How many different terpenes are there versus cannabinoids?
In cannabis, I
Yeah.
have no fucking idea. But
There's like hundreds. There's many.
Yeah, I think there's 121
Terpenes or cannabinoids?
cannabinoids, I think.
And how many terpenes? There's only a few.
There's got to be there's got to be a ton of terpenes, I would think.
I thought it's just there's only a few, and then there's like a combination that create all the different profiles. It's like if you have like 10 different things, like how many, like 10 different colors, how many different colors can you make out of the 10 type thing?
Yeah,
Like
you might be thinking about like the precursors. Like there's this precursors chemicals in the plants, and they can go two ways. You know, maybe one would go say THC, and one would go THC, you know, C or something.
according
You think about that?
there's at least 20,000 different terpenes in existence in cannabis.
So yeah.
Oh, so there's a bunch.
Yeah.
So it must be
Okay.
cannabinoids that there's less of them.
See, I thought, yeah, that's my mistake. I thought there was only like so many different, like I forget the myosin, lysine, you know, whatever. There's only so many, and then there's just a combination that makes all the different ones. But I know you were just talking about consistencies within different extracts. I believe, because I'm kind of trying to catch up here. So, but yeah, for sure, there's all the different combinations of the cannabinoids and terpenes that create different consistencies. Because like the Dab Smith, I kind of pick his brain on oils, so I'm kind of naive when it comes to that. But you know, like the Herkel, for example, like it has a lot of CBD in it, and for some reason, it always comes out more of like a liquidy, you know, versus some of these like the Moby, for example, that comes out, you know, a certain way.
Also,
I have some of that Herkel right here, and it is that way. It's definitely liquidy.
growers turn out differently. Like people can run the exact same cut of GMO, and depending on the nukes that they use and like a bunch of different stuff, they're, you know, some will wash purple and some won't, and some will crystallize super quick and some won't. It's not 100% all the time. There's so many variables in doing it. It'd be like trim to run at once. So you could say this is all from the same batch, you know what I mean, and do different things to kind of experiment with. But a lot of times when you're running, it's like you have 2 pounds of trim from this person, and then the next time you see that same kind of plant, it's like 4 pounds from another person. It's really hard to say what's from this grower and what's from this grower, what's from the temperature being 4 degrees different on your chiller that day, you know what I mean? Like there's so many variables with it that it's hard unless you're doing single source to like pinpoint what causes different things and extractions, and you know what I mean, just like with growing and smoking different flavors.
Welcome, Red. Looking spiffy, brother.
Thanks for the deep dive into the extracts, Kate. Really appreciate that. It's really interesting stuff to me. And yeah, welcome, Red. I don't know. Winner of best
One of the things I'm
dress.
trying to do is I'm trying to get the Tropicana cookies. I'm trying to get some purple rosin. I don't know if you guys ever seen that purple rosin that some of these extractors they get their machines to spit out. It's pretty impressive. So I have like a couple different variations of the Tropicana cookies, and I got that citrus tsunami. I just have yet to give it to a rosin guy to see if we can make some purple magic. What do you guys thoughts
I've
on
made
that?
purple rosin before.
Dude, it looks pretty. It's just pretty looking.
The purple strains don't seem to yield in rosin is the issue.
They do it. GMO will wash purple and it dumps in the ditch.
I could attest to this. Our GMO room. Oh my god. Okay, so we hang dry the plants, whole plant hang dry. You know, once they're dry, we buck them off the plant into bins of plastic. You know, plastic lined bins. And when they take them out to trim, when we leave the room after doing that, we're sweeping the floor and we're sweeping resin, just sweeping resin like we're sweeping keef off the floor. It's just ridiculous with that GMO. It just drops like just more than I've ever seen any other plant.
So I talked before about how I hate Tropicana cookies, but I have it because I want to grow it out, to wash it, to press it into purple hash, because I've heard that that's what it does. So let me know if you have any luck, Kyle.
I have like 2 or 3 different cuts of it right now too. So maybe we can like, I don't know, try to make something. Because I don't know if it's like a certain strain that does it, or if it's like every Tropicana, or like I don't know if it's just the process of doing it. Like I'm pretty stupid when it comes to oil processing.
That's something I'm really curious about as well. I cut out during all the good stuff, by the way. All the good information you guys kicked out, I lost. I'm going to have to go back and watch it. The second,
It is there though. Kate dropped a ton of knowledge on us.
I'm sure, and I missed it all. I'm fucking kicking myself. But as far as the purple strains, for me, they don't wash very well for hash, bubble hash. They wash right through, is my experience. So I'm looking forward to see your experience, Kate, because I almost think if you're wanting, when I wash, I get a little bit, but it's always greasy and it's always fire, but it's not a great yielder, the purple strains for me in a wash. So I'm wondering if you might find your purple and a big yielder, the more yield in the straight up your rosin process.
All right, speaking of purple, let's talk to Red Setter real quick since he just got here and he's grown like 4 different purple strains. How was your day, Red? We're getting ready to close this bitch down, so we got to get you involved before we do.
Yeah, I just stopped in to say, hey, how's it going, everybody? Red Setter Farm here. Just wanted to drop in. I'm all dressed up for my Halloween. I'm a wedding DJ tonight. Just came on back through. Yeah, so the purples, I'm really excited to try washing the Girls Gone Wild. I think that I might have some luck with some maybe purple resin on that one. I had a real hard time scoping it when it was in flower, and I was trying to see whether or not it was ripe. Those heads really look purple. I couldn't find amber. Let's just say that. I had a real hard time distinguishing probably milky from amber because everything was just purple. It was just fuchsia and purple all the way through. So I agree with Eagle about the yield. That is something that I came across. Granddaddy Purple is one of those indicas that just doesn't drop a lot of trichomes when you try to wash it. I'd be curious about maybe the oils and what you might be able to get out of resin. Like rosin, if you were to press it. But as far as just washing it and trying to get some dry sift, I had to agree with at least on those like stocky purple indicas, you don't get a lot of return. But this Girls Gone Wild is more of a purple sativa. It's got more of that daytime. It's a little more fluffy. It's not as dense. So I think that I might get a better return trying to run the Girls Gone Wild. We'll see. I'm getting to the bottom of the batch. I'm about to have another crop of it come down, and so I'll eventually have enough to do a load of wash, and we'll see what happens in the next month or two. So I'm excited, guys. Thanks for introducing me. How's your night, everybody?
Good. I want to say, okay, so I think that lots of times purple bud is bred or like selected as more of like a novelty for its purpleness. So that's like the characteristic that's sought. So it's not because it's super trichomy or super sugary or whatever else, which makes it good to wash. So I think that you can have like accidentally plants like GMO that yield really high that happen to have purple trichome heads, which is why it's washing purple. But then you can have like a purple flower plant like black cherry cheesecake cookies, which is like almost black purple, but the trichome heads are white amber, so it's not going to wash purple. You know what I mean? So I think that that's why sometimes like the purple plants don't necessarily yield as high, because they're bred for the novelty of the purple color rather than the like potent high that you get from them or the other like good strain characteristics that you're getting from these other plants. If that makes sense.
I think that's a pretty valid theory, actually.
Yeah, my Granddaddy Purple, I mean, it tests at like 16%, I want to say tops. I mean, most of the time it's in like the 14, 15% range. But it doesn't smoke like a 14 or 15%er. I mean, when you hit it, it knocks you on your ass most of the time. It's almost like you're hitting something in the mid 20 range, but that's just the way that the terpenes react on those cannabinoids. You know, I'm not one that pays too much. I pay attention to the numbers, but I'm not one that focuses on the highest numbers. I focus on the medicated effect, which some
Dude,
of those
Granddaddy Purple fucked me up, dude. That sent me into some serious panic attacks.
Yes, that too.
Me, and then I passed the cut off to the Dab Smith, and the same thing happened to him. Like when he grew it out and started smoking it. Swear to you, we both had to take like a little hiatus from weed for a little bit, clear our minds. Seriously, Granddaddy Purple, man. I don't know if it's someone actually told me that there's it's one of the terpenes that's in there. I forget exactly which one, but
I think that was you and I having that conversation a while back.
Yeah,
Myrcene.
might have, yeah, yep. Might have been you and I.
Myrcene is okay. So there's a book. There's a good read out there. I suggest everybody who's into medicated cannabis. It's called The Cannabis Pharmacy, and what it does is it goes through terpene profiles. It goes through maybe medical conditions that you might have and what terpenes in cannabinoids may help those medical conditions. And there's cautions to myrcene if you have PTSD, if you have anxiety, if you have a couple of these issues where you think too much. And myrcene is actually one of those cautionary terpenes that have a tendency to make you think too much. And I've had that conversation with one of my best friends about, it's like set and setting when you're smoking Granddaddy Purple. You have to be in the right mindset. It has to be the right time of day. You almost have to be around the right people. It's something about that, and it's a really low cannabinoid number. So I mean, normally you'd be like, what's that on the test result? But hey, go ahead and smoke it and sit back and relax and see how you feel. That's my answer to that one. But dude, Kyle, man, yeah, definitely watch it with that Granddaddy.
Yeah, man, he's a killer.
It's sedating, it's good. It has the effect but if again, I give that caution, and I give that caution to anybody who's got patients that might have anxiety or PTSD. Keep an eye on those myrcene. Now, if it's like an OG or something, like that, where it's high myrcene, but it's also got a lot of like pinene and things like that, that pinene will help cancel that out. So you might be okay with OGs if they're high myrcene. I'd keep an eye on maybe some other ones, though.
And what is that like? What is myrcene? What does that really like taste like or smell like? Like what is
myrcene is your famous indica. Like that's the one that puts you to sleep. That's your
mango.
Yeah.
It's your mango,
Oranges,
it's your hops, it's your fruit. Yeah, it's your fruit.
Because I can't really pinpoint like if I was to see it outside of Granddaddy Purple, I really probably wouldn't be like, oh, that's myrcene, versus some of the other obvious ones.
Myrcene is like one of the more dominant terpenes there is, for sure.
Yeah.
Red,
So it's
to
probably
your
like
friend
chicken.
there,
It's in everything, eh? Tastes like everything.
Yeah, it's in everything.
It's
like
in
chicken.
everything. Yeah, and it's definitely in the OGs. It's one of the prominent terpenes in the OGs, but it gets kind of canceled out with the. I think it's like terpenoline and pine, especially pinene, is a really good. It creates a great adverse effect to the myrcene because it's so elevating and so relaxing. You know.
And then your citrus stuff like limonene and those where it's more like a uplifting more effect to kind of counteract that myrcene.
Red, I'd like to say to your friend there and your patients that suffer that experience with Mercium to experiment with some peppery strains. Most people I know that have that effect in my experience, like Jack Straw, I grew a strain of Jack Straw that it actually caused that in me, but for the people that you're talking about that had those symptoms, man, they found a ton of relief in the pepper strains. So, just for whatever it's worth, pass.
I'm going to agree with you right there, and I'm going to jump off of that because the Girls Gone Wild that I've recently come, that purple one, it has that little bit of that peppery. It might be caryophyllene or linalool or something, but it puts me in my right place. Like basically right now, my number 2 is this Girls Gone Wild, and my number 1 is the Death Star. And Eagle, that's why, is because it has that peppery, whatever that terpene is in it that gives it that little. I'm sorry, Death Star also has got that peppery type of flavor terpene to it, and that's my go-to also, and that's the one that I feel best with myself in my head. It's a great daytime. It'll help me go to sleep if I need it to. So yeah, there's something in that. And I want to say that the peppery side of things is linalool and or caryophyllene, and caryophyllene is great for everything. Pain,
Yep, I agree on that one too. That's definitely one for the pain for the back.
Yeah, I got neck, stiff neck, nerve issues, things like that. So it helps me out, man. It's great. I love that Death Star. It's a good one. Anything peppery. I totally agree with you, Eagle. Definitely.
I'm glad you guys all have similar experiences with it.
Yeah, and I also experienced to where the Death Star is a little more overpowering to some people. So I definitely think it has to do with what's going on in your equilibrium within the equilibrium of your own brain chemistry. There we go. Yeah.
For me, I feel it in the back of the neck when I smoke that type of strain. It just grabs me and pinches me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It definitely does. I grew Sensi, was that a Black Domina, probably 6 years ago, and it was one of the most peppery, burnt rubber, skunky, fantastic things, man. Love that.
Blackest of the black.
All right, guys, we're getting down to it. We got to run into final shout outs. I think we'll run down the list and then get out of here. Wanted to thank Red for rushing back home and jumping in here with us. That was really neat. Definitely best dressed for sure. Sorry, Kate. Spartan Grown, where can everybody find you?
Everybody can find me on Instagram at Spartan Grown or at Mint Canico. Shout out to my fellow employees at Mint Canico.
All right. Red Setter.
You guys can find me on Instagram, Strainly Cannabis at Red Setter Farm. Great to hang out with you guys. I'm glad I made it home within the last 20 minutes. Everybody have a wonderful week. Hope to talk to you all very soon. Thank you.
Eagle.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you and Skillbo for sure for dragging me along on this venture. It's greatly appreciated. Much time with you panel members. It's always great and chat. You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, whatever. If you guys have permission, I'd like to say thank you to Blue Planet, Mars, and Herbs Now for pushing me along and helping me out in the garden. And everybody in the chat that watches along, thank you for pushing the show along. Without that, you guys, we wouldn't be here. So thank you guys mainly.
Why wouldn't they help you? Look at that garden behind you, man. Great work.
You know, if you want to see more of Eagle's Garden, hey, there's a slick little line right there. But if you want to see more of Eagle's Garden, he's really been putting out the content on his YouTube channel. And you guys want to see what's going on? Go check it out, man. It's really informative.
All right, Kyle, where can everyone find you, friend?
You can't. Hide and seek.
Hide and seek Marco Polo.
Yeah.
I think it's Kyle Gardner FCG on Instagram.
Whoa.
Is that right?
I just want to say thank you to Sea-Doo for making
got
such an
doxed.
awesome scene. However, the gas tank needs to be a little bit bigger. Keep running out of gas.
What do you do when you run out of gas on a jet ski?
I've been towed in once this year. Swim. Bring your paddle.
Do you dry out?
Did I dry out? Yeah, I'm dry. Hey, look, there's my wife. Shout out to my wife for doing the dishes.
All right.
You know
Kate,
what? Before we go, I just want to say, make sure you guys check out the podcast this week that Kyle did, and his wife was also in that as well to give him shit along the way. So make sure you check that out. Dropping tomorrow.
For
All
sure.
right.
All you guys rock. This has been kind of fun. First time doing it. You guys are all very smart, very informative. So I'm gonna have to check with you guys a couple more times throughout the course of time.
Of your life. Yeah, definitely. All right, Kate, where can everyone find you?
On Instagram at the Can of Kate, and then on the future 4200. I think my handle is the same on there. Got an Etsy. And shout out to all the people in the chat. I didn't really read along that much tonight, even though I did have my screens up. I'm getting more tech savvy. And Kyle, thank you for jumping on for the first time. I think that you might be the only person I've ever watched that moves their face more than I do. So that's exciting to see too.
Kyle is hella animated. All right, did we get everyone on the shout out, Scobo?
No, you
Abolish-
got
No.
me.
We forgot Abolish. Oh, yeah, it's because you don't have a camera. I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
don't have a camera on tonight. It's all good. Abolish Farms. You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and anywhere you see Michigan Grow Bros Productions. And yeah, don't miss the episode tomorrow. I guarantee if you guys laughed your ass off last week, you'll at least 10 times over and get a ton of good information. And as far as shout outs, I'm going to shout out to my crew here on the panel, of course. Love you guys. And all the nerds out there following the Frugal Force.
All right, Scobo, what do you got, friend?
I just have to say that this has been one of the better shows for not only information and flow, but we had some people stop by. You know what? It's like it's sprinkled all the way through. I'm Skillbo1. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Cannabis as the same. My YouTube is Skillbo17. So I just want to say thank you for hanging out with us, spending your Sunday night, and I hope to do it again real soon with y'all.
Yeah. All right, you can find me at sequence_mi on Instagram. You can find the show at Michigan Bros Grow Show, Mich Bros Grow Show on Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all kinds of stuff like that. Please share the show with a friend if you enjoy this type of stuff. I really enjoyed chat this time. It was really fun. And have a good night.